Today is November 17th, 2025, and this is Read Through the Bible.
Hi, everyone.
There's a athletic term that's sometimes thrown around here called the GOAT.
Okay.
Have you heard of that before?
Greatest of all time?
Greatest of all time, yeah. Yeah, and so we're in our Bible reading, and we're going to be reading about the greatest of all time. Mm-hmm. This is Solomon.
And these are the good years.
Yes.
The really good years.
The very good years, yeah. When he asks for wisdom rather than wealth. And in chapter 4, where he going to show his wealth. So, okay, we're going to read 1 Kings chapters 3 and 4. Solomon made a marriage alliance with Pharaoh, king of Egypt. He took Pharaoh's daughter and brought her into the city of David until he had finished building his own house and the house of the Lord and the wall around Jerusalem. The people were sacrificing at the high places, however, because no house had yet been built for the name of the Lord.
Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statutes of David his father. Only he sacrificed and made offerings at the high places.
Only. Like, that's like worshiping other gods. Like, it just shows that...
or it could be worshiping God in the wrong place, in the wrong way. But yeah. So he had a flaw there for sure. Verse 4, and the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for that was the great high place. Solomon used to offer 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar. At Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, ask what I shall give you. So even though something was not quite right about this worship, God appeared to him there.
Yeah, this is like the great genie. You rub this lamp that you found in a dusty cavern someplace, and genie pops out and says, ask whatever you get 3 wishes. Here Solomon only gets 1, and here's what he says.
Okay, verse 6, and Solomon said, you have shown great and steadfast love to your servant David, my father, because he walked before you in faithfulness, in righteousness, and in uprightness of heart toward you. And you have kept for him this great and steadfast love, and have given him a son to sit on his throne this day. And now, O Lord my God, you have made your servant king in place of David, my father, although I am but a little child. I do not know how to go out or come in.
He's a little child. I'm not sure how young he is. He just kind of feels like that.
I think he's speaking hyperbole.
Yes.
But, yeah.
For sure.
Verse 8, and your servant is in the midst of your people, whom you have chosen, a great people, too many to be numbered or counted for multitude. Give your servant, therefore, an understanding mind to govern your people, that I may discern between good and evil. For who is able to govern this, your great people?
It pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this.
So
and
he asked for an understanding mind.
Yes.
Asked for wisdom.
And God said to him, because you have asked for this, and have not asked for yourself a long life, or riches, or the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself understanding to discern what is right. Behold, I now do according to your word. Behold, I give you a wise and discerning mind, so that none like you has been before you, and none like you shall arise after you. And he is the GOAT when it comes to wisdom. And that is, there's the debate today whether Michael Jordan was better than LeBron James, but they're in different eras, and this is sort of like, no, he is better. There's no one going to rise better than King Solomon. I give you also what you have not asked, both riches and honor, so that no other king shall compare with you all your days. He's the GOAT of all the kings. And if you walk in my ways, keeping my statutes and my commandments, as your father David walked, then I will lengthen your days. So on top of that, long life. He didn't ask for those things, but he got it as well.
Verse 15, Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. Then he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord and offered up burnt offerings and peace offerings and made a feast for all his servants.
So here we see him offering before the ark of the covenant rather than offering in these high places. Yeah. Okay, and now we get to see his wisdom on display when he judges between the 2 mothers, judges wisely with them. Then 2 prostitutes came to the king and stood before him, and the one woman said, "Oh, my lord, this woman and I live in the same house, and I gave birth to a child while she was in the house. Then on the 3rd day after I gave birth, this woman also gave birth, and we were alone, and there was no one else with us in the house, only we 2 were in the house. And this woman's son died in the night because she lay on him." And she rose at midnight and took my son from beside me while your servant slept, and laid him at her breast, and laid her dead son at my breast. When I rose in the morning to nurse my child, behold, he was dead. But when I looked at him closely in the morning, behold, he was not the child that I had borne. But the other woman said, No, the living child is mine, and the dead child is yours. The first said, No, the dead child is yours, and the living child is mine. Thus they spoke before the king.
Then the king said, The one says, This is my son that is alive, and your son is dead. The other says, No, but your son is dead, and my son is the living one. And the king said, Bring me a sword. So a sword was brought before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to the one and half to the other. The woman whose son was alive said to the king, because her heart yearned for her son, Oh, my lord, give her the living child, and by no means put him to death. But the other said, He shall neither be mine nor yours. Divide him. Then the king answered and said, Give the living child to the first woman, and by no means put him to death. She is his mother. And all Israel heard of the judgment that the king had rendered, and they stood in awe of the king, because they perceived that the wisdom of God was in him to do justice.
Yeah, it's just an amazing story about how he maybe called their bluff in some regards, but just so dramatic as he pulls out that sword and says, Cut the baby in half, and just shows his wisdom. So in this chapter, it's significant that Solomon married a daughter of Pharaoh at the beginning.
As a marriage alliance with Egypt.
And then he asks for wisdom. God
appears to him.
God appears to him, asks for wisdom. And then he shows his wisdom by judging wisely with the two mothers. Okay, chapter 4. King Solomon. Okay, and so here, this chapter, it's easily divided up. I've got Solomon's workers, wealth, and wisdom. So first his workers, those who work for him. King Solomon was king over all Israel, and these were his high officials. Azariah, the son of Zadok, was the priest. Elihoreph and Ahijah, the sons of Shisha, were secretaries. Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, was recorder. Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was in command of the army. Zadok and Abiathar were priests. Azariah, the son of Nathan, was over the officers. Zabud, the son of Nathan, was priest and king's friend. Abiashar was in charge of the palace, and Adoniram, the son of Abda, was in charge of the forced labor.
Verse 7, Solomon had 12 officers over all Israel, who provided food for the king and for his household. Each man had to make provision for 1 month in the year. These were their names: Ben-Hur in the hill country of Ephraim, Ben-Decker in Makaz, Sha'albim, Beth-Shemesh, and Elon Beth Hanan, Ben-Hesed in Aruboth, to him belonged Soko and all the land of Hepher, Ben-Abinadab in all Naphath Dor, he had Taphath the daughter of Solomon as his wife, Baana the son of Ahilud in Ta'anak, Megiddo, and all Bethshean that is beside Zarathan below Jezreel, and from Bethshean to Abel Meholah as far as the other side of Jokmeam. Ben-Geber, so these are the names of the 12 officers who would provide food, one per month. And I think most of them start with Ben, which means son of, right?
Yep.
Okay, so verse 13, Ben-Geber in Ramoth-Gilead, he had the villages of Jair, the son of Manasseh, which are in Gilead, and he had the region of Argob, which is in Bashan, 60 great cities with walls and bronze bars. Ahinadab, the son of Edo in Mahanaim, Ahimaaz in Naphtali, he had taken Basemath, the daughter of Solomon, as his wife. Baana, the son of Hushai, in Asher and Bealoth. Jehoshaphat, the son of Paruah, in Issachar. By the way, we're starting to get into the tribes right there. Verse 18, Shimi, the son of Elah, in Benjamin. Geber, the son of Uri, in the land of Gilead, the country of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, and Og, king of Bashan. And there was one governor who was over the land.
Okay, so there are the workers, and now comes the wealth. Judah and Israel were as many as the sand by the sea. They ate and drank and were happy. Solomon ruled over all the kingdoms from the Euphrates to the land of the Philistines and to the border of Egypt. They brought tribute and served Solomon all the days of his life.
Solomon's provisions for one day was 30 cores of fine flour and 60 cores of meal, 10 fat oxen and 20 pasture-fed cattle, 100 sheep, besides deer, gazelles, roebucks, and fattened fowl. For he had dominion over all the region west of the Euphrates, from Tiphsah to Gaza, over all the kings west of the Euphrates, and he had peace on all sides around him. And Judah and Israel lived in safety from Dan even to Beersheba, every man under his vine and under his fig tree all the days of Solomon. Solomon also had 40,000 stalls of horses for his chariots and 12,000 horsemen. And those officers supplied provisions for King Solomon and for all who came to King Solomon's table, each one in his month. They let nothing be lacking. Barley also and straw for the horses, and swift steeds they brought to the place where it was required, each according to his duty.
Okay, we've seen his workers, we've seen his wealth, and now we see his wisdom. Verse 29, and God gave Solomon wisdom and understanding beyond measure, and breadth of mind like the sand on the seashore, so that Solomon's wisdom surpassed the wisdom of all the people of the East and all the wisdom of Egypt. For he was wiser than all other men, wiser than Ethan the Ezrahite. So maybe Ethan had this big reputation of being this wise man. He's wiser
probably
than Ethan the Ezrahite, and Heman, Kalkal, and Darda, the sons of Mahal, and his fame was in all surrounding nations. He also spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. And some of these proverbs certainly are recorded for us in the book of Proverbs. He spoke of trees, from the cedar that's in Lebanon to the hyssop that grows out of the wall. He spoke also of beasts and of birds and of reptiles and of fish. And people of all nations came to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and from all the kings of the earth who had heard of his wisdom.
We hear a story about that in chapter 10, about the Queen of Sheba being an example of that.
And the Queen of Sheba is going to talk about just the amount of wealth that he had. Like, we have this big list of wealth here, the provision for each day, but it's going to speak about how much wealthier he was, like how blown away she is.
Right. She's going to come see it, and she's going to say, wow, it's even more than I was told.
You're right. Okay, we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.